Peter, tell me, how much money did you make last month?
We made, what was our best month? We made $127,000 in new revenue.
How old are you?
19. I turned 90 2 months ago. We have 15 employees now. We just started onboarding a lot of people because we are in scaling mode. Our goal in terms of revenue is next month we want to get to about 250 to 300K in revenue. And we made $127,000 from this. I'm not gonna lie to you, there's gonna be things you're gonna need to sacrifice if you really want to get there. You putting your head down, understanding, no parties, nothing fancy, just...
Peter, tell me, how much money did you make last month?
We made, what was our best month? We made $127,000 in new revenue.
And how old are you?
How old? 19. I turned 19 2 months ago.
Ridiculous. Okay. Tell the people, what do you do?
What we do is we're currently doing marketing and consulting for healthcare providers, and we just work with US-based clients, and yeah, a lot of our growth has been coming from AI, which is obviously something we added inside our offer.
100%. So I interviewed you, how long ago was this? What, like 4 or 5 months ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
that time.
And how much money were you making when we did that first? It was like 60 grand or something a month at your best month?
No, I think it was around December or January, and in December we made 90K cash collected. That was like almost 100K in revenue, which was
ridiculous.
Good. And
you were 18, right? 18 at the time?
Yeah, I was 18 at the time. Yeah.
Okay. So 19, you just made 127,000 last month. Give everyone watching a little bit more context. Obviously, the whole AI agency model that I chat about and everything on YouTube, you do a lot of that. You help, healthcare providers, etc. Talk about more of the services you do. Like, let's just jump into it. Let's just go in depth so people can understand how you're managing your business at your scale, also your age. Like, I'm similar, so I relate, but it's insane, right? So go more in depth. Like, let's chat about it.
Let's do it. I want to be very clear. There was a roadmap into creating our offering, everything we do here now. And we initially started with just marketing. So we would take healthcare providers, do the marketing for them. And then as time passed, I became friends with some of the clients, and I got to see the internal operations, the systems they were running. I got to understand what were other problems that they were experiencing. Because realistically, marketing is just a piece of it. A lot of people think that marketing, you just fix the marketing, that's it. No, there's sales, there's operations, there's systems, there's finance, there's automations. And AI has been going very big this year. And so, we did the marketing. We got to see a lot of the internal operations. We figured out what are problems our clients were struggling with. And then just by taking advice from the biggest clinics, we started doing consulting, and we started doing AI automations for our clients to help them solve the problems.
Okay, got it. So when it comes to your offer and your service, when you say marketing, it's Facebook and Instagram ads mainly, correct?
Yeah.
Do you do any other platforms?
We used to be doing Google. It's just gotten more expensive, so it just doesn't make sense now.
Okay. So you're running Facebook and Instagram ads for your clients. You add in some AI elements, and the whole goal of what your service does is to what?
We not only save our clients time and help them buy back their time, but we make them a lot of money.
Okay. And is that through appointment setting, like booking appointments on their calendar so then they show up? Obviously I have the industry you're in, so it's a little bit more specific.
When it comes to offer creation, you should start with just one piece of the puzzle. But ideally, if you want to go big in this industry and make a lot of money, solve the whole puzzle. Just give people every single problem they have and they're going to experience. So we have other programs as well where we know once we solve a problem, we know what the next problem is going to be. And so we can sell them something when it comes to that. So it's everything, realistically. It's from appointment setting to sales coaching, to systems, to AI automations. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So for the people that don't know you, maybe give a little bit of background on yourself. Obviously, like the numbers you're hitting and with a business model that's very high margin.
Yeah.
Where did you start? Like give people an introduction on yourself who maybe haven't listened to you before.
Yeah, of course. So I made my first money when I was 15. I actually made that through coding. So I coded a Fortnite hack, which I sold, and that's how I made my first $500.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. I know. And then what I did is I started working as a waiter because I needed more money, and like that kind of side hustle didn't work for me anymore. Got into graphic designing. I work with some very big names, such as Alex Eubank, who's like super famous guy, the blonde guy, that does fitness. And then from that, I like took all the money and started the agency. That's how I did it.
Okay. And what age did you start the agency?
I was 17 at the time.
17 at the time. Okay.
Yeah.
And right before you turned 19, so about a year later when you were 18, you went from what, 0 to pretty much 100K a month, very close.
Yeah. Yeah. The funny thing is, I don't think I made it. I think I made less than $1,000 between age 17 and age 18. But then the month I turned 18, we made 10K that month. We got from 0 to 10K. And then it just started growing. 20, 30. Obviously, we had months where we didn't make that much. And then in December, it was our biggest month. I was still 18 at the time. And we made 90K in cash collected.
Okay. So for people watching, obviously that might be more at the beginner stages. So you, and just like myself, when you started your agency, talk to me a little bit about how you got your feet kind of, I guess, in the ground. How did you get your traction going? Like, was it outreach? Like, what did you do?
Great question. We initially started with, because I was alone. I initially started with outreach. I was doing cold calls. Now, pretty important thing, I've been to the US like once in my life. So my English wasn't good at the time. I know it's kind of good now. But yeah, because I'm Italian, that's why. So it taught me a lot of things, and it also helped me improve my English and my sales skills, which is it's so important to help you go through the journey in the agency space. So I was doing cold calls. From that, I hired a person to do the cold calls for me that would set appointments and I would close them. And then we switched to SMS. So we started doing mass SMS text. And then I got in a person to like manage that for me. And that's how I made my first few $1,000s with the agency game. Yeah.
Okay. And then I assume right then you then pivoted to paid ads and then just started scaling from there.
Exactly. Yeah. Paid ads is probably going to be the best thing long term, but I never recommended that for beginners because it's going to take you $2,000-$3,000 to figure that out. And you're not even sure if it's going to bring a good return on investment.
Yeah. I remember starting out with my stuff and if you don't have it set up properly and you're not getting the right advice at the start, like you can burn a lot of money fast. So that's 100% true. Okay. So you started the agency, you started making some money that way. Have you always been in the same industry, the more the health, care provider? No, you switched.
We were initially in roofing.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a pretty funny story. And I got my first client, I think it was in November 2023, I think. And I was super happy because I'm like, yeah, I got my first client. This guy paid me 97 pounds and he would have paid me like $500 per job. But then I figured that roof cleaning stops in November in the UK and starts back in like March, April. So I lost that client immediately, which was
seasonal.
Terrible. Yeah, exactly. It's seasonal. So I had to switch niche and I got into the healthcare space and it's been amazing. Not because of healthcare. I mean, I do think it's a better industry though, but it's also an industry that is not seasonal, which is one of the most important things.
Okay. So you got in there. When was that? When did you make that switch?
I think it was like January. Yeah. 2020.
Okay. So about a year and a half ago or so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So a year and a half to go from a new industry to where you're at now, kind of from almost ground zero. That's crazy. That's crazy. And obviously I met you mid last year. I think I started helping you out with some random stuff. You kind of came in and then, you just took off from there. And obviously we've been friends since. So for you right now, or I guess I'm going to backtrack a little bit just to kind of see throughout your journey. And then we'll talk about more of like the in-depth tips maybe you could give someone and we can chat about for just people starting or beginners today with the whole AI agency stuff. So for you, you mentioned your service, it's consulting and you do marketing. So you're getting people probably in the door for your clients as well as consulting them on how to run their clinics, right? So
Yeah.
was that always the case? Because obviously to consult clients, you have to have some knowledge over what's working,
Yeah.
right? And to consult.
Yes.
So how did you start? Was it just the marketing? What did you do?
Yeah, so we just started with the marketing. We got in a few clients, figured out how to do the marketing. Because still, I can guarantee you, there's a lot of agencies that still don't know how to do the marketing. So marketing to us was number one. We had to figure that out. And then from that, we just established good relationships with clients and we got to see their internal operations. We got the knowledge and we started understanding the problems, the most common problems among our clients, aside from marketing. And that is when we started doing consulting, which allowed us to charge an extra 4K and actually increase our closing rate, which is pretty funny.
Interesting with that new offer. So what would you say on average right now are you charging? Like, let's say offer wise, like price point, are you pricing it? I've chatted with you. It's high ticket.
2 offers. Because we have so much knowledge about our industry, we can help people start a business, which is a brand new offer that we just got it rolled out a few months ago, but it actually came out probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. And funny story, that's a 30K offer. We do that all up front. We help people start our own healthcare clinic. And we actually just closed a 30K today. I got the guy sending me, I'm not sure if you
I don't
can
know if
see
it'll
it.
focus. Is it what, wire details?
Unfortunately. But yeah, there's all the wire details. He just sent the 30K wire to us. And then
Crazy.
we had this marketing, consulting, and AI automation offer. That's about 10K for 90 days.
Okay. So you're not charging a couple $1,000s a month. You're charging high ticket. Yeah. Right. Okay. That's obviously what I preach. And that's, when you first came to us, I think that's kind of what we were helping you a little bit with, is charging more. Okay. So shine some light on just more in depth on the service, right? Like on maybe just a little bit more specifics on, okay, marketing, right? Is this video ads, is it image ads? How did you find the winning ads? Cause you mentioned like most agencies, they suck at the marketing alone. They don't even get to the place where they can offer consulting too, because their marketing is so bad. So how did you define and get good at your marketing for your clients? Like what was the steps that you took?
Yeah. We started tracking all the data. Like we had to see for each single ad, which were the ones that were performing the most. Obviously, from what we saw, and this might not apply in every industry, image ads are just going to get you more leads, but the leads are not going to be as qualified. Well, video ads are going to get you less leads, but the intent is much higher. They are more educated about what you sell. What your client sells. And then they're nurtured. They already understand the process, how it works, and we kind of do a little persuasion on our video ads as well. All testing. One of the things that I see a lot of people miss when it comes to writing great ads is they're trying to sell the product on the video ad, which it never works. You can do a 10-minute video where you go through your offer, but nobody's going to buy. So the whole goal of your ad is get a person from whatever platform like Facebook and get them into your landing page to do whatever action, booking a call, for example. And so it's all about spiking the curiosity, to the person that is viewing.
Okay. If possible, give an example of that. Like, so instead of just straight hard pitching on the ad, what's an example that would lead someone towards, being, I guess, hooked and interested?
Yeah. Great question. One of my mentors told me about kicking rocks at competitors. So what that means is what we started doing was we started doing data research on our competitors, and not only from like the ads library, but we would ask clients for past agencies they work with and what were the problems. So we identified, okay, a lot of people end up working with these agencies. What are the problems? Why is it not working? Because of this, and that. First of all, it would give us data on like what we could work on our offer to make sure we don't have the same problem. And then we would use the 3, how many, they were, bullet points into our ads. So we would say, are you tired of working with marketing agencies that provide X and leave you with Y result? For example, this is a framework that was super successful for us.
Okay. So like just piquing interest and curiosity rather than hard pitch, on the ad,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing we look for into advertising is, are we standing out? Because different is better than better. There's no point in you increasing your guarantee by X amount of appointments or X amount of sales. Your offer has to stand out. And in our industry, there's nobody that does consulting. There's nobody that does systems implementations. There's nobody that does AI automations and marketing all together. So this is why we're so different, and we get a 20, 30x ROAS on our advertising.
Yeah, no, I know. So is that actually the real data? 20, 30x ROAS for your own ads,
I
B2B?
think we had like 21. We spent, I think, let me check. We spent a total of, how much do you think we spent?
To make 127K?
Yeah.
$6,000.
Nope. $4,500.
So that's more. That is like a 30 then. So if that is
Like a 30x, yeah.
so 127K divided by 4,500. It's actually a 28.
I'm trying
I don't know if
to show this. If I share my
28
screen,
rows.
can you kind of blur it out?
I'll blur it out. Yes, people can see it.
Yeah. 1 second.
Because this is kind of where I want you to shine some light on this call. And obviously you don't have to go too specifics onto your stuff, but you have a ridiculous return on ads. You're putting in $1 and making $28 back.
As you guys can see, it's not fake. I can refresh it as many times. Just make sure you're blurring out this. And yeah. And we made $127,000 from this. And it was all in 1 month, which I know it might look crazy because we still have a lot of deposits that people put down. We still have a lot of people we got to follow up with to close. And yeah, it's just very good marketing and very good sales process.
Okay. So I saw, right? I don't know if I think I could say it. What, $74 per appointment? That's what it was?
No. It's totally wrong. We're getting about $30 per appointment now.
Okay, so $30. So give us some data on your, like, you don't have to give too specifics if you don't want to, but like close rate, show rate, those two numbers.
Yeah. I know this is going to shock a lot of people. Our show rate on calls is 96%.
That's ridiculous.
That's
okay.
ridiculous.
We'll talk about how you achieve that. All right. And then what's close rate?
Close rate, it's about, we do a 2-call close. So the close rate on the demo is about 30 to 40%. It's dialed in.
Okay. And that's after an intro.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have closers?
We just had 1 closer in May, and now we got 2 closers.
Okay. So you have 2 salespeople. Do you have a setter, or do they also take the intro?
Yeah. So the person in May, she would take the intro calls and book them in for herself. And now we just got in, I know this is going to sound so funny. We just got in Ashton Hall's #1 setter.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, you'll have some good morning routines to copy. Okay. Okay, so let's first, I want to talk about the the show rate, but I also want to talk about the intro and demo. So you do 2-call close. A lot of people do 1-call close, right? So for you, why are you doing a 2-call close? Why do you have a call that's a discovery only and then a call that's strictly just, demo, showing all your stuff rather than combined?
A lot of reasons behind that. I highly recommend everybody, especially when you're selling something very high ticket, like we do, 10K or 30K, you would want to have 2 calls with people. Because anyways, this is usually what happens. It's very rare for you to get in on a call with somebody, you meet them, and in 45 minutes you think they're going to pay you 10K. It's not going to happen. Okay? So what we do on our intro call is we're looking for a few super important factors. Number 1 is we look if that person is even qualified to work with us. And then we look for what are the 7 buying beliefs? This is more advanced stuff. So there are 7 buying beliefs that hold people from not buying. And I'm going to go through them in just a second so I can pull them up. And so we identified, okay, what are some beliefs that this person has that we need to reframe? And then we can send over the content to reframe the people. We can send over whatever they need to see before the demo call to ensure that they're going to buy. And if they have a partner, we just get the email, we invite them to the meeting, we figure out a time that works for everybody, so we get every decision maker on a call and we can close.
Okay. So specifically for you, it's because it's such a high ticket offer, you're trying to maximize the quality that show up on demos, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it's like a screening process.
Yes. And it's also, we establish trust with that person to show we're professional, we show up on time, and we're actually real human beings. And we gather a lot of ammunition that we're then going to use for our demo call. So we already know which pain points we need to dig into.
Okay. All right. Understood. So let's talk about the show right now, because 96% is absurd. My show rate, I'll tell you right now, is not that high. Okay. So tell me, how is it that number? What processes have you put in place? I mean, even I'm curious myself, to learn a little bit about this. I know I've helped you with some stuff, but you got to help me back on this one. And of course, people watching.
Of course. Our show rate on calls, I gotta say, is pretty insane. Reason behind that, we obviously have the reminders, and we make sure they sound as customized as possible. So we can also use ChatGPT to do data research on that person. We can take a look at their website and then send a message that is tailored to that person. So it looks like it's a real human being sending that message. Super important. It has helped our show rate so much. And then aside from reminders, we call them sometimes if we can. Now that we have the setter, we get an appointment coming in, we can call them within the same minute. And so we can immediately do the intro call, and then we just change the intro call they booked to a demo. So we can shorten our sales cycle as well.
So 96% show on the demo, or is it on the intro? I assume the
demo show rate is like 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So 96% show on the intro call. And something that help is calling people the second they book an appointment, because we know they're available. And then content. We just have a page and they can select what they want to see from us. And that ensures that it builds trust and it shows that we're professional and this is why they show up. And it's also the industry, which makes sense. We work with B2B. B2B is going to have a higher show rate than B2C.
Okay. So it's like for you, it's a lot of just speed to lead. That's part of it. Speed to lead to just make sure these people are.
That's important. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So I want to talk a little bit more about the ads, because obviously you're, with the ads you're running, they're hyper profitable. I know you said there's 7 reasons people buy. There's decision making behind it. Shed some light on, are we talking video ads here? Are we talking image ads here? What was your process you took to find winning ads? And once you found them, how did you scale them? Go into a bunch of detail on just not necessarily the specifics, but how someone could replicate what you've been able to do.
Yeah. Do video ads. I'd love to tell you that AI works well. It does for B2C. We're using a lot of AI ads for B2C. We use ARC ads, which is great. If you guys want to know, we use Helene most of the time for ads, and it's been incredible. And the other thing to make it work is you got to have a lot of transitions so that people cannot spot that it's AI. For our ads, I've just got a real spokesperson. I'm not going to tell you where we source them from because that's more advanced. But you don't want to get them on Fiverr, because usually paid actors on Fiverr have been seen everywhere. So we just get people that we know are okay. I cannot go into that because that's going to be super fun.
Okay, I know.
Very good spokesperson that have not been seen by a lot of people, and so then we test out hooks. We test out different hooks, and the hooks are based on the pain points or desires of the prospect that we want to attract, and then we just have the body where it kind of goes through how we could be able to help them. And the way we communicate this is through a naming convention. So we're not going to speak about our marketing and consulting process. It looks like this. No, we have like a naming convention. So for example, I'm going to make an example. Our AI accelerator system allows you to benefit, which is also a name that sticks in their head and they kind of remember this. Also, you're going to get people that speak with a lot of companies at the same time. If you have a good naming convention that sticks in their mind, they're going to remember about you and what you do.
So naming convention is kind of what I tell a lot of people. So an example of that could be like AI, or like listing AI system or something people can put a name to. That's correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So you think that's super important for the marketing message you put on the video ads?
It is, because people remember about it.
Okay. And from what you're saying here, it's a lot of UGC ads, UGC creators.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have seen, in terms of number of appointments, for us, we didn't see a massive difference between image and video. But the reason why we just do video now is the show rate on the video is much higher than the image. They come in on the call, the percentage, because we obviously have a video after they book an appointment that kind of goes through our process immediately. I don't remember the exact data, but about 20% more when a prospect books in a call and comes in from watching a video ad, the chance of them watching your post-booking video are going to be 20% higher. So that's why we don't do image ads. And the reason why we want them to watch our video is because they come in on a call and they're already nurtured and they know what we do and they've seen our reviews and everything we do.
Cool. So for you, it's been a lot of UGC, kind of everything you just said. Obviously, with what you're doing right now, it's working well. You're making a lot of money. Let's talk about goals for you, goals for Peter, and then let's talk about some advice you can give to more so beginners, right? Beginners starting with, AI agency, the whole model. Obviously, you've gone through it pretty much A to Z. I remember I met you when you were doing how much a month, would you say? This was mid last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were doing 30 grand. So you were already making some money before I met you, but then obviously you were able to go from 30 to 130 in, roughly 8 months or so, maybe 6 months. Yeah, ridiculous. And those are, I assume we're talking 70 plus at least % margins, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, your ad cost is nothing. So, and your team is how big now?
We have 15 employees now. We just started onboarding a lot of people because we are in scaling mode. We want to, our goal in terms of revenue is next month we want to get to about 250 to 300K in revenue. That's
okay.
Our goal here.
So then that leads me to my next kind of goals. Like for you with the agency, are you looking to sell this in the future? Are you looking to just have this as a cash flow vehicle that just you can put a couple hours a week towards at some point because your team is, so self-sustaining and you can just ride the cash flow? Or are you trying to, what's the goal?
Great question. One of my mentors were speaking about how everybody that gets to 100K a month with their agency starts selling consulting, they start selling, mentorships. I don't like it. There's no need for me to do it or shut down my agency or sell it because it makes me a fuck ton of money. So as a result, I will just be looking to transform my agency into a cash cow. And from that, I can go on and start our projects. Now, the reason behind that isn't that I don't like the agency space, is I just don't like being stuck on the same thing for many, many years. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 17.
Yeah.
Next year, I might be looking to get into something different.
Yeah. Yeah. I started when I was 16. I'm 19 now. Same scenario. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Okay. So for you, it's just a cash flow vehicle, right? Like that's kind of the same thing, obviously, for me and what I do. It's just a cash flow vehicle. I don't necessarily plan on selling it. Like it's just let it ride out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And you said goal for next month was how much you wanted to make revenue?
We want to we're projected to do between 250 and 300. We are scaling ads pretty aggressively so that we can get there. But one of the things I was talking about in my other interview that we have on this channel is I try and maximize my return on investment on ad spend as much as I can. So while there's a lot of people that run all these ads and they just care if, if they kind of work or not. I just want to have less ads, know which principle make ads super effective and working great. And then I just optimize at a lower budget and then I scale.
Okay. And
that's the whole thing, because ads they're gonna get expensive as time passes.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't put in work towards them when you create them.
do you plan on ever growing organically a little bit, like growing some sort of brand in the industry you're in?
We tried. We're currently trying. It just seems like we're building a brand because a lot of people have been seeing our ads, so they kind of know us. We've been featured in Times Square as well in New York. So some people already know us for this. But in terms of organic, our TAM, total addressable market, isn't big. So ideally, we're not going to be able to scale aggressively through organic. But that is also a reason why I want to have this as a cash cow, so then I can get into something with a much bigger total addressable market where I can scale with organic.
Okay, perfect. Now, last thing when it comes to goals, let's talk about more of your personal goals. I know you some small town Italy. You still go to school, which is crazy, right?
So I'm actually on
last day.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're officially are you going back to school next year? Or what's the goal? What's the plan?
I have my exams in 2 weeks, and then I'm done. I'm moving to Miami in July/August.
Okay, moving to Miami. So you're done with school?
Done with that. Yeah.
Done. Okay, good. And so you're gonna go to what's the reason behind Miami? I know, obviously Wyatt, my business partner, he just moved to Austin, right? Texas, a little bit different. Not like the whole kind of curly-haired rented Lambo city. You know what I mean? So. What's the what's the reason for Miami?
3 words: 0% income tax.
Yeah, but if you have your business in the US, you have federal.
Yeah, no, that is so true. But taxes in Florida are just much better, which is super important for me, and then the network. So the reason I say that is I haven't heard about a city where you can network as much as you can in Miami. You can really meet a lot of people, which is great. And to be frank with you, I don't mind spending 10, 15K a month just to live in Miami if I'm building the right connections that are going to allow me to get into much bigger projects as time passes. Because realistically speaking, I know there's people out there that dream about having an agency just like I do, but the agency is a small play. The biggest play that you can do right now is probably SaaS.
This software.
So software as a service, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's more of the long-term vision for you. Okay. Miami is definitely a spot. You should consider Austin. I'll be probably visiting down there. Why? You should consider. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's transition to the last part I wanted to cover here. Obviously, everything you've done is insane, right? You've been able to accomplish a lot in a short amount of time, and I'm glad I've kind of been able to watch it and, help where possible, of course, with everything we do. Let's talk a little bit about the advice you'd give to beginners, right? Like, obviously, there's super basic foundational knowledge that I talk about all the time on YouTube, which is like, there's no best industry niche. You got to just stick with one and go long term with it. Like switching in your niche every single week is a recipe for disaster. Talk about more the advice you'd give to beginners, right? With knowing what you know now.
Yeah. To me, there's a book I've read. It's called The Psychology of Sales, is by Brian Tracy. Yep. He talks about listing out like 10 personal goals and then creating action steps on how you can get there. To me, the agency space was exactly that. I literally visualized who I wanted to be. I created that person, wrote it down on paper, and then I looked for the differences between the person that I was at the time and the person that I wanted to be. And the reason I say that is the main difference was skill set. I was missing major skills that I have now that allow me to do what I do, such as sales, leadership, marketing. I kind of have All of them. You need to.
Yep.
Especially when you're
That's what the agency game is so good for. You get all the skills compared to drop shipping, crypto. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yes. And then just work on your skills. I recommend starting with cold outreach because you got to get uncomfortable and learn how to have a conversation with somebody that literally does not want to speak to you. And that has helped me a lot with my confidence. I still have friends who are my age that don't want to call they don't want to call to deliver food because they're so scared about what the other person is going to say, which it sounds so weird. I don't have a problem getting
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is number one advice. So start with cold outreach. List out all the skills that you're going to need to work on and actually work on them. There's something by Benjamin Franklin has like 13 rules. No, it's called like the list of 13. And he talks about listing out 13 skill set you want to improve in and then reading something about them each day for like a month. It was kind of like that. So I also did it because number one thing you can do so that you can get better and you can start making more money is improve your skill set, invest in yourself. And then in terms of the agency space, getting clients ASAP. Like do not try and sell a 10K to somebody. You have no idea how to deliver the service, first of all, and you have no idea on even what promises you can make.
Yep.
Because you don't have data. So gather data, get in a few clients, learn how the game is played, and then you can go ahead and play the major leagues.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I did. Literally back on my channel, I think when I made my first couple videos, I was closing clients for like $300, for like 3-week trials just to get them in, just to get in the game a little bit, get that initial kind of, I guess, experience. And then I obviously went on to charge a lot more than that. Same thing you're doing and same thing.
My
I've
first
talked about it a lot.
Was for 97 pounds. And I was super happy.
Exactly.
I was the happiest person on the planet. Yeah.
That's that when you close that client is what I say all the time. You're more happy closing that client than a 10K deal today. I think you could agree.
Yeah. No, we closed a 30K deal. Yeah, I told you. I'm gonna eat.
It's a different feeling.
About an hour, and I'm gonna go to bed. Nothing has happened I'm not gonna do anything different than what I usually do. But when I made that, I felt so happy.
Yeah. I think everyone can agree.
It made my month.
Right. Okay. So kind of like last little tidbits of advice is get some clients in easy. Just get them in. Even if you're just doing Facebook ads, even for a short amount of time, just get them in, do the marketing for them, build that initial experience in the industry. I assume, do you have a rule of like stick it with an industry for super long? I know you switched at some point, but I don't think you're planning on switching now, so like.
No way. Once you prove that your market is validated, your offer is validated, don't change it. You can just scale. If you cannot seem to scale, it means you have a bottleneck. You just gotta remove the bottleneck and then you can scale. It's that easy. So do not give up. But also you gotta know when to quit. When I realized my niche was seasonal, I realized it was time to quit and move to another niche. It just made so much sense. There was nothing else I could have done. So that's my advice when it comes to that. And go on.
Cool. Well, I was going to say, I know there's some softwares we were chatting about before we started here that you're using. I know you used Vappy for a little bit for a lot of the AI caller stuff for that, for fulfillment for clients. And maybe talk a little bit about, I know we were chatting a little bit about a video ad, kind of like, Arc Ads is great. And then there's Google, they just came out with a new one. Do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit at what you've seen with that?
We are starting to roll out a few ads from Google that are made with Google's AI. It's called the VO3. I see the potential into helping you keep your most performing ads. So what I mean by that is ads, just like runners, fatigue the more they run. So when you spend $100,000 on one ad, it's going to start to fatigue. It also depends on your total addressable market. By using AI, you can craft different hooks, different visuals that catch the attention of the person that is looking within the first 2-3 seconds. that is where I see the potential. I don't think the technologies are yet when it comes to creating an entire video ad, but for hooks, it's going to be incredible because you're able to create things that are just not going to be feasible in real life.
And this is with Google VO3. This has kind of been the
Yeah.
new thing. I think a lot of at least even before you mentioned to me about it, before we jumped on here, I've had multiple guys that are really, really big in the agency space that have messaged me about this kind of new rollout for their ads.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing is you do need to be from the US to use it. So my recommendation, guys, for anybody watching that isn't from the US, just like I am, get yourself somebody who's in the US and make them do it. They got to create a new account. They got to create everything new, and then you got to apply for it. And then they need to give you the account. And that is
I didn't even know that. So you can't use it outside the US? I didn't even know that.
No, you cannot.
Dang. Yeah, you're getting nerfed. You gotta make the move.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. 100%. No, I think this has been super good. Any last words you would leave advice wise for people watching? Obviously, like I said, like you've been able to do a lot in a short amount of time. And sometimes I think myself too, I'm like, shoot, dude, like I rolled upon success too fast. And obviously I remember you chatting you earlier this year. You had an amazing month in December, and then you had to spend some months kind of taking a step back, building, right? Like those little painful ass months. Like I have to go through that too. Like everyone has to go through those months where it's just building the foundation to scale. And you have to, or else your business will break, right? Your fulfillment's going to break, everything breaks. And, you sometimes have to just take less revenue, take less profits for a couple months. So then you can obviously jump forward a lot faster. And I know you were in that phase, but right now you're in the scaling phase as obviously, you're crushing it. Any last kind of advice to people watching here from you?
The only way you can make this, because I had a business partner. Not a lot of people know I had a business partner before, and this guy left because he was massively underperforming. The reason he was underperforming is he just lost all the motivation, and he didn't have anything that kept him pushing. Well, I do. I'm not going to speak about it, but I have something that really pushes me every single day to do better and improve and become a better person. And for you guys watching this, that maybe you want to just make your first $10,000 online, you still need that little thing. Doesn't matter how small that is, that keeps you going. And it cannot be something materialistic, because the problem with that is the second you get it, you're going to have an identity crisis. Because now you have it. So I recommend attaching yourself to something that is not so easily achievable.
It's like a bigger purpose.
Yeah, a bigger purpose, and keep going. Don't quit. A lot of people are going to call you crazy. I was speaking with one of my friends. He runs a very successful agency, does about $250K a month. And we were speaking about girls and how hard it is to find a good girl at our age that can even get a little grasp of what is going on in my life, what I do, how busy I am.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people get it. Realistically, I had a friend of mine asking me if I make over $5K a month.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've had those questions too. Yeah. I mean, it's unrelatable, right? I think that's a way you could put it, but also it's unrelatable how much time and kind of, I guess, like bullshit you had to go through to get to where you're at now, right? Like, and this is a piece of advice. This is the last thing I want you to talk on, because a lot of people have the notion that you can get into this business space and in 2 months or in 1 month, you could be making more than like doctors, and you could be on your laptop traveling wherever as a teenager or like however old you are. Yeah. And that is that's false. Like that is really far from the truth, in my opinion. Like it can happen, but exceptions they don't disprove the rule, right? Like it takes time. So what would you say when it comes to committing time-wise to starting a business model like an agency? What does it take, and what are the correct expectations going in? Because I think this is the most important thing for people.
Yeah, incredibly important part. Now, on the front side, we did it. I mean, we went from 0 to 10K in 1 month, and it was April 2024. However, it took me like a year and a half to properly learn the market and the game before I could do it.
Yeah.
So same thing as we were talking about before, you don't have the skill set to make more than a doctor in 1 month. You don't have the skill set. So this is what you got to be working on. And it's what it takes. You putting your head down, understanding no parties, nothing fancy, just grind and work. And I'm not trying to be super motivational. I'm just telling you what it takes to be really successful. So for me, I just finished school. But before I got to 127K a month, while I was in school full time, 6 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are not going to lie to you. There's going to be things you're going to need to sacrifice if you really want to get there.
Yeah. No, it's true. And it takes time. Like you just said it, a year and a half to see that 10K month. Everyone sees the 10K month, but they don't see the other year and a half of just crap you go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I lost all my money before because I was investing in the wrong things and I just didn't know.
Yeah.
And this is what people don't see. They only see the success. They only see the fun part. And something I want to talk about before we wrap this up. December, we did 90K cash collected. Between January and April, we spent time just pretty much breaking even because I wanted to work in a fulfillment. I didn't want to go big in sales. It was a choice. It was a sacrifice. I'm not going to sacrifice my profit for the long term of this business. Because what happened in December, and you don't see it in the other interview, is everything broke.
Because it was what I said,
EA and a closer. That's it. There was nobody out for the fulfillment side. And it was a mess, also considering I was in school full time. And I just couldn't take care of all the clients. I just couldn't. And we spent 4 months just rebuilding the entire fulfillment, the product, the automations, the offer. And now we're here. And everybody sees he made $127,000 in 1 month. Yes, but it took us 4 months to rebuild the entire product so that we could get there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You got to take 2 steps back, take 10 forward. You know, this is what it is.
With high highs comes low lows.
Always low lows. Yeah, the lowest lows, dude. Like I've had low lows. I know you have, and it's. I mean, I think I made a YouTube video when I had it, but like I was like afraid to show part of myself because it's like it's just humiliating, right? It's like fuck, man. Like it's just you're getting beat up, and it's hard to show that. But obviously, you get through it, and obviously you'll have months like you just did, and it's obviously inspiring.
It will. You're gonna feel so terrible about yourself, about everything you ever done, but it's just temporary. You just gotta keep going. Yeah,
part of the game. Yeah. Where can people find you?
There's my Instagram. I think we're gonna have it down below. They want to check me out. They want to ask you some questions. I'm fine with that. Just to let you know, guys, I do not sell mentorship or courses or anything like that because I have.
He doesn't sell anything. Yeah.
Actually,
how do you say your Instagram name? I'm looking at it right now. I don't know if I can show it to the camera, but
we can just link it down below. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in the description. So it'll be there. You guys can follow Peter, and bro, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I know we obviously will maybe jump on here again. We'll hit you'll hit 250K, and then we'll chat again. And bro, excited to help you across this journey where possible and see your growth. And obviously, all the other links and the stuff will be in the description. And guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Peter.